So public limited company, or a PLC, can sell shares in their company on what's called the stock exchange. You might have heard of that before. So the stock exchange is a place where companies trade shares in their companies. That's how they generate money to be able to expand their business. So big companies tend to be PLCs. If you think, for example, about Glanbia PLC, that's a good example of a big company. So also, like LTDs, these PLCs have to register with the company registration office to be able to trade. And they also have the benefit of corporation tax at a low rate of 12.5%. Your state-sponsored companies or bodies are obviously run by the government to provide essential goods and services that probably aren't as profitable for other businesses to do. So we have to have a public TV network. Now, there are some arguments over RTE now. Should it be privatised, because there's so many other streaming companies out there, between Netflix and now we have many others, Sky and even Disney at the moment. So there are arguments over whether there's a need for RTE, because it is loss making and it's costing the taxpayer. But there are other very essential services where, again, the government have to keep running, where you have the ESB network. So it runs the cables, not exactly the supply of electricity. So that's where you have Electric Ireland doing that, not run by the government. An Post, an essential service, like a banking service nearly now, and the DAA, or the Dublin Airport Authority. So they're essential services. Subsidiaries just mean a sub business of another business. So if you have An Post, a subsidiary would be the National Lottery. A monopoly is where you have only one player in the market. A lot of these state-sponsored bodies are, because no one else will probably provide them. But that's not good for competition either, because prices can be charged for consumers quite high because there's no competition. However, it's run by the government. They will try and keep the prices low. Privatisation, as we mentioned with RTE, is selling off state-sponsored companies. So if RTE was privatised to private businesses, then the government wouldn't run it anymore. The opposite of privatisation is to do the opposite. AIB Bank, for instance, is owned by the government, but if you wanted to nationalise it, so nationalisation is to have it where it's owned by the government, like the AIB Bank. But if they wanted to sell it back to private businesses, they would privatise it. So there's always this debate of, should they be nationalised or privatised? What's more important for the company? Or sorry, even for the country. There's a lot of examples in the past of Aer Lingus being privatised, Telecom Éireann being privatised. And the biggest thing is about competition. And the European Union will say that they have to have competition, fair competition. Okay, so we'll look at what a franchise is in the next video, and cooperative.